I'm Christy Augsburger, and I am the VP of Marketing here at Rewriting the Code. I was the first in-house marketing hire and built out our small but mighty marketing team for our nonprofit that serves 35,000 women globally who are interested in careers in the technology sector. As you may be aware of some of the changes that have happened here in the U.S. regarding diversity, equity, inclusion with the new administration, we wanted to make sure that we were ahead of what was happening in the space by reaching out and working with an expert that could help us with defining our messaging and to help our team have a clear sense of what we needed to do to demonstrate the value that worked best for our partners with those changes in mind, and to ensure that our members had that sense of safety and support given those changes happening around them as well, and that they understood that we were here to still support them the best way that we could. So we were looking for the right person to help us at the right time to improve our messaging at the right moment. And that's where that led me to Chris and Alina at Conversion Alchemy. As we've grown, we've identified opportunities to have more influence outside of just the tech workforce itself. How can we impact social mobility? How can we make an impact in corporate social responsibility and leverage the work that is happening in the philanthropic sector to help improve outcomes for women that are pursuing careers in technology? And so with all of those changes coming at the same time, we really needed support that on the back end that could help us with the research and understanding the problems and challenges and opportunities that our partners were having across those different sectors, as well as incorporating the thoughts of what our members are looking for and what their needs are and how we can help meet those. We really needed support with tying together all of the pieces, identifying the core values, the core messaging and proposition within all of those that we could easily wrap around and share externally, and also tie together all of the pieces internally that we were struggling to find a coalescence with. We had really been focused on talent and the workforce development part of things. And because of that, our current website, we didn't really talk about our corporate social responsibility and philanthropic opportunities. And so we really needed to dive into how we were going to share those externally, what were the requirements of those target audiences and what they wanted to understand and learn about us and how it relates to what they're trying to affect and solve. And we just didn't have that anywhere externally on our website, online. And so that was a big part of this project, making sure that we could speak to those audiences in their terminology and address their problems, pain points, and make sure that our internal programs and events aligned with the solutions they were looking to implement. We had always been doing these things already in the background. We were already doing mentorship and volunteerism, and we have had some philanthropic partners in the past. We really didn't formalize that into a value proposition or an offering that we could share externally. It was just this undercurrent of what we've always done. So it was really important for us to be able to formalize that in a way that was impactful, meaningful, and addressed the needs of the constituents we were looking to serve. I had been following you as a thought leader online and was impressed by the work that you had been doing for other clients, and just your perspective was unique. And we did a small little test run with you of looking at our industry partners page and had you do an audit, and was really impressed with your methodology and the way that you've thought about that process of how you structure things. And so that was a great gateway for me to say, this is the right person to help me and my team build on the work that we knew we needed to do, that we didn't have the capacity to do as a small team. So you're an extension of our work. And it was great to be able to know that and trust that you had a process that was very organized, sustainable. There's a lot of visibility and transparency in that. So that way we could continue to execute as we needed to do to serve our membership, while you were in the background doing the research, formalizing that and being able to share those insights with us consistently, so we could take those back, share those internally, talk about it, formalize it, give it back to you to continue to move forward with. I think having time with you to do the kickoff with our entire leadership team and really ask questions, hear about their perspectives. I think it's hard when you're siloed and you're working in your different areas. You have your own perspectives, but to bring that all together at the same time is a foundational setting and meeting opportunity that was, I think, critical for us to make sure that we were aligned in the direction that we were moving forward. So that was super helpful. The competitor analysis, being able to share all that with from our different perspectives as well and have you take that into consideration was super helpful. And then I think the partner surveys, the partner and member research opportunities, I think that was critical for us to understand and hear in their own words of both of those constituents what was important to them, and for you to share those transcripts with us. I think that's valuable in that we're not in the room, so they can be a little bit more candid and share what they normally wouldn't have with us. And I think the UX research that you did on the back end as well, that was really critical for understanding the friction points within our current website and what we needed to address to make sure that we were able to get more people signed up to access the free resources that we have available to them and serve more people ultimately. I think we always have a lens of what we are looking at ourselves in the spaces that we are in, but having a third party that isn't necessarily part of this space and doesn't have the same maybe history or background that we do, that is learning as they're going through this process. I think that allowed you to ask different questions, to have a different perspective that you were bringing to the table in your questions and your follow-up questions. And so I think that was helpful to us, is having an outsider that could really be objective in that process. You're very analytical. You can get right to the point. You can be very clear in what you're looking to expect, but also being warm and personable. I think that's was a nice, refreshing part of this process too. I think when we got to the first initial drafts of the positioning canvas and the messaging, that really allowed us to have that light bulb click of all the pieces coming together and seeing them formalized and in an easy to comprehend way. I think also having the framework in place to be able to make that scalable across the team so that they could understand how to leverage those assets was super insightful for everybody. And it allowed them, I think, to be able to take it and run with it versus having to figure out the best way to incorporate it. And especially with being able to use AI tools, we were able to feed that all into a custom GPT that we could use internally that is guiding them on their brand voice and our value and messaging propositions. So it really made it an easy way for us to scale that content across the team to make sure it was consistent, which is really hard when you're in marketing. There were no hiccups in the process and everything was pretty consistent. If deadlines shifted, we were able to address those quickly and recalibrate the timeline of things. And then I think as new things came up in the process where we had to address a new part of our solutions, like especially the CSR coming at the very end when we didn't have a plan in place for that, you were really quick to be able to incorporate that into our wireframes and our messaging and make sure that we had something to deliver to our development team very quickly, which was coming up at the same time. So I think you all were very responsive, agile, and very transparent in what was happening in the timeline. Very clearly organized documentation. We love that. I love that personally. It makes my job easier to be able to find what I'm looking for very quickly. But I think also writing it in easy to understand terms was important for our teams, for those that are not familiar with UX and messaging and the work that goes into that. I think being able to have the wireframes so well organized and documented to share directly with the development team and designers, it made their jobs easier. We were able to get our designs done quickly. The development team was thrilled to see how detailed the wireframes were. And our previous web agency that we had been using that did our previous website, even they were very impressed with the work that you had done. And I think they got some notes on how to do this process a little bit better. But I think that goes to speak to your experience and your professionalism and how that translated to all vendors that ended up using your work. It made it easier for them at the end. I think we're weaving some of that in internally more as we do discovery calls with our current partners on the next year and their goals and opportunities. But I think it's helped us be able to refine exactly how we're positioning our new offerings in the philanthropic and CSR space. So that's been helpful to us. It's helped us with updating our collateral and our decks that we're sharing. And then we're excited to be able to launch the new website and really see that out in the world in action. And that complements the work that we're doing on the PR side. That's been very helpful for them to have the clear understanding of the value for each of the audiences that they're targeting as they're looking at opportunities to talk to them in their spheres of influence. They can address those specific pain points and challenges with the messaging that we've developed for them. The process has helped us internally in our team understand the amount of work and the amount of detail and focus that needs to go into research and how important it is into everything that we do. And internally, we do a lot of surveys and we do check in on our different constituents over time. But I think how you formalize that process and shared that with us, it helped us understand the value in really going deep and maybe having third parties talk to our partners and our members more to get a different perspective, and how that translates into putting some of those nuggets that they give us into our messaging. So that way they're hearing themselves in our messaging more. And I think that's something we definitely want to bring more into our work, because I think that's the easiest marketing that we can do, is taking what they're saying and being able to share that externally in their own words. Having an outside perspective from somebody that's an expert in the user experience and the messaging and the positioning work, that's not familiar necessarily with your space in the nonprofit world, gives you such a different perspective in your work and allows you to hone in on things that you wouldn't have identified on your own. I think it allows you to be more impactful because you have such a unique perspective given to you by an outsider, using their expertise in different areas to affect change in yours. I think that's the most valuable part of working with you. It allowed us to finally coalesce all of the things that have happened in the last 3 years that we've gone through and solidify a position, a new foundation that allows us to grow and build off of. We grow so fast that we're always building the plane as we're flying it, and allowing us to take a step back, have somebody do that work in the background to help us build that solid foundation again to start off of. That was invaluable to us. We now are equipped with the information, the assets, and the resources that we need to be able to have a strong footing as we move forward and hopefully impact more in the next 5-10 years as we grow.